I just dropped an infantryman.
Hello, welcome to the Q. Episode 2 of Lockdown. Not much happening. Yesterday I went nowhere. So I'm still working 2 days a week. Then on Mondays we are volunteering. We volunteered anyway for a food pantry. You know, we're handing out groceries to people that are in need. And then that was basically 2 Mondays a month they were open that we volunteered for. Now they're open every Monday along with every Wednesday, and so every Monday we're doing that. Then I work 2 days a week, and Tuesday, or not Tuesday, but 2 days a week working, like I said. So I still got a paycheck coming in, which is nice. But outside of that, not much going on. We're visiting some restaurants for takeout. We got people that are working and providing, restaurant service, for takeout and pickup and delivery. They really need the business. So we're doing our part. Our couple of our favorite pizza places are really small, business oriented, not chains. So they're in risk of closing for good, which I don't want that. I've already seen some places with closed signs and for sale signs on them. So that's kind of sad. I mean, other people that have passed away or gotten really sick from this is worse, but the part of the country that we're in, it's pretty mild. I mean, New York City, or New York, that whole area is obviously the worst spot, in this country. But right here, in the Kansas City area, we're talking cases, only in the hundreds. Most of the Missouri cases are, in St. Louis, because people it's a little denser population there. So I get why that spreads a little more there. We kind of got ahead of the ball here, I think, in Kansas City, or ahead of the virus, I should say. And even some counties in Missouri, are still have not had a single case yet, which, is kind of good. My in-laws are in their upper 70s and prime suspects for, really getting the virus, hitting them hard. And the county that they live in southern Missouri and the counties surrounding it have not yet had a single case. So that's not to say it's not there. It's just no one's tested positive for it or have passed away from it. So that's good news for our part of the country. Most of the parts of the country, I think, if you look at a map, are in decent shape. So the social distancing, the staying at home, outside of essential travel and stuff, seems to be working, which is nice. But if you're healthy and you have the ability, help out. Like I said, we're doing that food pantry. I did shoot a video the 2 weeks ago, and it was so windy that you couldn't hear anything but the wind blowing. So I got rid of that, and here's a little segment from this last Monday, where it was so stinking cold in April, believe it or not. We were bundled up like we were going sled riding. All right, well, we're not at the Q, but looks like we got some cars lined up, ready to go at the food pantry. Someone's coming up to say hello. Oh, there you go. Goodbye. All right. So this is what we're going to do, and it looks like I'm up. Got to get busy. So, do your part if you can. If you're in that target range, keep staying at home. That's what everyone's doing. We haven't done much here. My 2 kids are here that, we were empty nesters as of last August. My youngest went off to college, and then, now here in the last several weeks, my oldest came back from out of state because he's working from home, and he can work from home here just as well. And youngest is back from college because they're doing it online, throughout the end of the year. So it's back to the way it used to be. So kind of good for, me anyway. I mean, it's, you know, from empty nester back to a full house, you know, not by choice, but it certainly has been fun. We've had many a games, many a movies, you know, making the best of the situation, and you know, do what you can. Like I said, if you can help out somewhere, do. If staying at home is all you can do that. So, like I said, right here we're in the Global War 36 version 3. This is our second game of that, and we are, I think, on the January 39 turn, so it's just about to get to the meat of the game, where the Axis will, you know, get with the program. So we've been doing that. Got a YouTube game going on the second one of those, and well, let's just take a look at some of that stuff. So we're in the second YouTube game, or YouTube Wars game, and got some things going on. We're on about to be on turn 7 here, so we got 2 more turns left. Interesting, I had glued these together, you know, to make them easier to pick up, and then it dawned on me, you know, when these are turned over, you can't tell what they are, and we've had some discussion about that, you know, on online chats and whatnot. So I took some of these glue dots, you know, so I stuck the numbers together that I thought would be, you know, useful. You wouldn't be using a 5 as much as a 1, so got those. The 3s I didn't have enough, so they're the single, and we'll see how that works. But you know, now whatever side they're on, you can tell, you know what they are. If it's upside down, you know it's a 3, you know, if it's blank. So get that going. We got our arrows. I really like the double side, like I said there. Having fun with the YouTube game. Still, you know, talking with people and chatting, having fun, rolling dice. That's kind of good. The other item, well, that was probably pretty bright. Maybe I should edit that out. Been working on painting the units. So I've got, you know, the gray, and then the US here is green, and then that colonial red for the Russians. And the idea is to dip them, you know, like G.I. Joe and Sire does, to try and bring out some of that detail, you know, in the vehicles. I don't know if that's even showing up. Looks like it is on the viewfinder, but so that'll bring out the detail in the pieces. But I also wanted to try something a little different, and I'm gonna paint some of the planes a little bit like I would normally, you know, if I was gonna paint them to look realistic. So there's some painting there. We'll see how that goes with the dipping. It may not work. It may not work at all, as far as how, you know, the dipping may make it look really raunchy looking, but especially this Russian, you know, white camouflage on that red. But it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. But one thing, if you'll notice, on those flight stands, I don't know what's the best background there. We'll rotate that a little. So you can see on those flight stands, I've angled them for the dive bombers. So, you know, as you're looking at that Stuka on that flight stand, as it sits up on the table, it's actually diving like it's supposed to be. So I've seen people take the flight stands and make them smaller, you know, or lower heights, which, you know, I agree, that's so you can tell the difference. But I think I kind of like that angle, to where the tactical bombers are actually on the angled stands, so they would be diving. And of course, I don't have any Japanese ones done here, but if you had a carrier sitting out there and you had it, you know, it actually looks like it's diving on that carrier there, right? But you know what? You get that Russian fighter in that white paint tray, and it kind of disappears with that camouflage, right? So anyway, the destroyers, I'm changing my painting scheme, and my other big set, I had the tips of the destroyers painted white. I never really liked that, because it's an attacking ship. So white, I just didn't. The white on the transports makes sense. So I've changed I'm painting the flat backsides of the destroyers black. So I'll try that, and we'll see how that, like I said, once I start staining and dipping these in the polyurethane stain, it may go out the window with all the painting, other painting as well. So, but we'll give it a shot. It's an experiment. So that's what else has been going on here. I've only done like half of the units that I normally would out of my set because, like I said, we are playing that game, Global 36 on the other table, which takes up a lot of units as well. So no need looking at me the whole time we're talking. This is the Global 36 game in progress. If you can glean anything out of that, I don't know, but you can look at it. So, you know, obviously games around town have been canceled with the stay-at-home order, but also Richard from Combat Miniatures, he was coming in town. He was going to be here, and I think his name was Chris. Him and Chris were going to come to the queue here for a game against myself and another one of the local guys here in town. But that was supposed to be last Saturday, so that had to get canceled as well. But you know, that's just what's going on everywhere. So, you know, people are playing at home, playing online, you know, doing what you can. Speaking of that, I did want to mention that, you know, some health care workers that I know are headed to New York, and they, you know, signed up to do some volunteer work for, you know, I think 2 months. So they're on their way up there to help out, because things aren't so bad here as they are, you know, in New York, obviously. So, you know, they're heading up there to help out and give the medical staffs there, you know, some breather. And I hear there's, you know, in the vicinity of 500, you know, or so volunteer nurses and other healthcare workers that are headed to New York to get stuff done. You know, I gotta give them an applaud and a shout out for doing that, because that's above and beyond, you know, what needs to be done, you know, for your family and your own health. You know, you're putting yourself in harm's way, you know, for, you know, people out of state, you know, that's the way to help. So kudos to them. So it's just a little update about what's going on here. You know, hanging out at the house, doing some things, playing some games, painting some pieces. You know, grocery store visits are down. You know, I've been once, my wife's been twice, so it's like go in, get what you can, get out. Still can't find any toilet paper though, so who knows why we still don't have toilet paper. That's bizarre. But anyway, we're dealing with it. I'm going to try and hook up my brother, and has 3 daughters, so him and his family, they're all holed up in their home, so I'm going to try and get up a FaceTime game of Pictionary. So we'll pick sides, and if you've ever played that, you draw a picture, and then the rest of the team tries to guess what it is, and we'll see how that goes. You know, they're at their house and we're at ours, and sometimes FaceTime, the picture isn't very good quality when a lot's going on, so it may not work, you know, as far as guessing the picture, but we'll give it a shot and we'll make do. So hopefully in your neck of the woods things aren't as hectic. I do know some people like in New York that do have it really bad, you know, and you know, thoughts and prayers are out for them as well as everyone else, because we're all dealing with different things. You know, some people have lost their jobs or are temporarily laid off, or you know, a lot of different things going on. So we hope it doesn't go too much longer. I mean, we kind of see the end of the tunnel here, maybe, as far as the stay-at-home order, depending if it gets extended or not. We'll see. So until then, if you can, keep rolling dice. Well, I shot the earlier video before lunch. and went upstairs to eat lunch, and then I was gonna post it all together and throw it up on YouTube, this afternoon. And while I'm eating lunch, I hear that the Kansas City, the mayor, not the state of Missouri, has extended the stay-at-home period for Kansas City through May 15th. Now that doesn't include us. The state or the county will have to chime in, because technically the stay-at-home order is through the 24th of April, so that's significantly longer, another 3 weeks. And the state may follow that, I don't know. I figured it would be extended a little bit anyway, just because they're saying the peak time is now, and how they can tell that, I don't know. But at the same time, about 15 minutes later, my son knows somebody from St. Louis, and they chimed in that St. Louis has extended the stay-at-home order indefinitely, which doesn't really mean that they're going to stay home forever. It just means they're not going to give a date when they think it will end. And I get that. St. Louis, that area is really, if there's a hot spot in Missouri, that's it. I trying to figure, I can't remember what the percentage was, but it's like 67 or 68% of all cases and deaths are from St. Louis. And so that's the bad spot of this state, which still doesn't compare to any of the bad spots anywhere else in the country. So we're still fortunate there. But it looks like the lockdown is going to go on a little longer. So pretty much, I guess we'll be reduced work and staying at home and hanging out and doing what we can to get by. So hopefully your area is going to be that way, where you can safely get on with your life at home, and hopefully we can get back to normal here. Not as soon as I would have hoped, but maybe somewhere in May we're starting to come back out of this. And till then, I am going to keep rolling some dice, and I will see you next time.